about the state of their heart and their soul and their values as well. Jesus talks a lot in the Gospels about bearing good fruit and bearing, bumper crops. And he uses that as a metaphor for living a life that's fruitful and productive in positive ways. And he doesn't employ that particular metaphor here in this story. But I think it's accurate to say that gratitude, the ability to experience it and the ability to express it, is one of those fruits. The ability to be grateful and to show it is one of those fruits of the Spirit, one of those good fruits reflected in the lives of those who are trying to move forward, trying to live by a certain set of values, trying to live in right relationship to God and to the people around them. And so, gratitude is one of those fruits of the kind of life that we're called to lead. But I've also learned over the years that gratitude is also a gift. As a fruit of the Spirit, it's a gift to others. When I'm able to be grateful and to say thank you and express my gratitude to others, it's a gift to them to hear that, to know that, right? Like I was talking about with JT earlier. But at the same time, gratitude and that ability to be grateful is also a gift for the one who feels grateful. In one of my previous church settings, we provided space for a grief support group that was run by a local hospice organization, and a hospice chaplain actually facilitated that group. And I kind of had a standing invitation from him as the pastor to sit in and observe or participate anytime I wanted. And I did occasionally, not with a whole lot of frequency, but every once in a while I would sit in and participate. And I noticed something. I noticed that this chaplain was almost brutal in trying to force people to be grateful. And it seemed like the deeper they were in their grief, the more paralyzed they were by their loss, the harder he pushed and the more he forced, trying to force them to focus on something in their life to be grateful for, trying to force them to focus on something in the life of the person that they're grieving that they can still be grateful for. And I saw this more than once in the times that I would sit in. And so finally, one time after I'd sat in on the group, I said to him, I said, "Man, you're pretty hardcore on the being grateful thing." And he said, kind of chuckled, and he said, "Yeah, I am." He said, "Absolutely." He said, "Because particularly if it's someone that's in deep, crippling grief, helping them to remember that there is something to be grateful for in their life is the most helpful thing I can do." And he said, I go so far as to tell people that they not only need to focus and remember their reasons to be grateful, but they need to hold those reasons for gratitude close. They need to cherish and protect them as if they were their most valuable possessions on earth, because in the end, that ability to be grateful just might save their life. as soon as he said it, I knew exactly what he meant. And I knew without a doubt that he was absolutely right. Because in that moment, I flashed back to my own experience of grief, the loss of my own mom. And I remember that in the midst of all of that mix of feelings, the grief, the despair, the anger, the guilt, the confusion, that more than anything, in the midst of that, I felt grateful. Grateful for her life, grateful that I had had her as a mother, grateful for her love and for her wisdom and all of that. And that was just kind of the overarching feeling that I had. And I wasn't trying to be grateful. I wasn't looking for reasons to be grateful. No one had told me, oh, you need to focus on being grateful. It just was. It was a gift. It was a gift. And in the midst of all the other pain and all the other despair and all the other darkness, gratitude undergirded and covered all of it. And it saved my life in what was and continues to be the darkest and most painful experience of loss that I've ever had. Gratitude, the ability to experience it and to share it and express it, is a fruit of a life lived in good and right relationship to God and to one another. And it is at the same time a very real, very precious gift from God that has the ability to change us and sustain us and support us in redeeming, life-giving ways. And it's a gift that deserves to be remembered and celebrated and lived out, not just in the week before Thanksgiving, but every week.